Good morning, everyone. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why am I here? It's an important question, and hopefully there's a motivation that brings us here. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's review, because we've just begun last week to move into John's discourse, the Bread of Life discourse. So we're hearing about the Eucharist last week. We're going to be hearing it this week and a number of weeks to come. And hopefully we realize that this is a great moment of catechesis for us, that we can grasp onto and understand more deeply Christ in the Eucharist. And John unfolds that. It's really the more that we're equipped in that way, the more that we can evangelize. So last week, I kind of put it in this way: feed me. Feed me. If I say it like this, feed me, what's that bring to mind? So Little Shop of Horrors, probably a musical. It was this plant that just kept growing and started to eat people. You know, why am I talking about that? Because it gets into our mind. That's the reason why, what's one of the reasons that we come, because it's a deep voice in our hearts. We want to be fed. That is to say, we want to be loved, we want to be known, we want to be cared about. We desire these things. It's something that's in our heart, and it says, feed me. And it's one of the reasons that we come right here. I talked about Father Uncle John, who's a priest that I knew in North Carolina, friends that I had, and it was their relation. And he died last week, and it reminded me of all the times that I celebrated Mass with him, and how he just had the eyes of faith that was so beautiful. And it wasn't like he was trying to push anything on you, but when he said the words of institution, "This is my body, this is my blood," his eyes were so big, and it was beautiful because he saw through the eyes of faith, the faith of a child, and he knew it was Christ. Okay, we're fed here substantially in the Eucharist. That's why when people kind of leave, sometimes they'll say that. Well, I just wasn't being fed. What are they talking about? Music, entertainment, coffee at the services, more flexibility, okay, preaching. Not about those things. It's not. Now, in our humanity, it helps us if we have some of those things to focus in on what is real and what counts. But where we're really fed is the Eucharist. And really that segues right into today. Last week it was a prefigurement. He fed the 5,000. And so here they show up and they want to be fed with the food. And he simply says, don't look for the food that is just about today. Look for the food that is eternal. And that's the question. Why are we here today? Why are we here today? Well, my mother and my father, and they got to get... No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the motivation that brought us here today. And the reason why we're here is we have come to be embraced by God, to be fed eternally. He makes himself present, and he gives his very self to you and to me. So if somebody asks you, why do you go to church? I mean, tell a little child that. Well, we go to church because we want to be embraced by God. Well, that makes sense. And that's the truth. that he is made manifest in a substantial way. You know, I talk to the kids over at the grade school, and you ask them about Mass, and what do they say? They know that this is a covenant, not a contract. See, I want you to do this, and for me, and then I'll give you a bargain, God. Then I'll do something for you. How about that? I'll do something for you, then you do something for me. That's a contract, and that is not what he has entered into with you and me, a covenant. And they'll tell you, I say, so a contract is an exchange of, and they'll say services. And I'll say, well, a covenant is a total gift of, and they say self. They know it. It's a total gift of self. What else in the Eucharistic prayer? This is my blood, the blood of the new and eternal covenant that will be poured out for you. You hear it a second time if the priest does the third Eucharistic prayer. Oblation. It means to pour out. This is what he does right here. He feeds us and he embraces us. So again, I ask you, why did you come here? Well, hopefully we have a clear understanding and that we can tell whether it's a child or somebody, or maybe somebody who has left. I come to Mass to be embraced by God.